Hi, this is Tracy. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Baccarat Rouge 540 was created by Francis Kurkdijan in 2015, originally as a limited edition for the Baccarat Crystal House's 250th anniversary. And let me spray it on skin. It smells like nothing that existed before it. It smells of amberwood and jasmine and saffron and cedar sawdust, and something that simultaneously lands as sweet, mineral, slightly clinical, and somehow indefinably expensive, like a very sophisticated laboratory run by someone with impeccable taste. It costs between $300 and $400 depending on size. Zara makes a version. It costs $25. It smells to most people who try both extremely similar. I want to be clear that extremely similar is doing some work in that sentence that we should examine together, because the question of what extremely similar means and what it means that it's possible for a $25 fragrance to be extremely similar to a $350 one is actually the most interesting question in contemporary fragrance discourse. More interesting, certainly, than the outrage version of the story, which is not very interesting at all. The dupe economy is not new. Fragrance has always involved structures in which one successful formula influences the next generation of development. Legally, through what counts as distinctive composition versus general category, and illegally, through outright copying. What's new is the scale, the speed, and the transparency. The fragrance community online has developed such sophisticated vocabulary for comparing fragrances and identifying what a dupe is. A dupe of that, the information moves faster and more completely than it ever did when a fragrance discovery happened at a counter mediated by a sales assistant. The high-end houses are not enjoying this. Several have responded by moving toward exclusive or proprietary synthetic materials. If the key molecule is not available on the open market, the dupe can't get close. This is genuinely a reasonable strategy. It's also an arms race. The dupe manufacturers are sophisticated and watching, and increasingly capable. The Baccarat Rouge situation is interesting because the fragrance became on TikTok a cultural object rather than just a fragrance. The algorithm found it. It became the fragrance that people who don't follow fragrance know if they know anything about fragrance. Millions of people encountered the Zara version as their entry point, not as a compromise for people who couldn't afford the original, but as the version that reached them first. The original validated the interest. The dupe created the market. What does the dupe do to the original? Two arguments. First, it cheapens it. The exclusivity was part of the value, and the exclusivity is now gone because the smell is accessible at a high street clothing store. The $350 bottle is no longer $350 worth of rarity. Second, it proves it. If this smell generates a global cultural moment and becomes one of the most copied fragrances in history, Kurkdijan made something that genuinely mattered. The dupe is not a theft, it's a tribute. Kurkdijan is not cheapened, he's confirmed. The Lattafa house in the UAE has built a serious business on accessible versions of famous fragrances. They're not embarrassed about this. Their customers aren't embarrassed about this. The shame in the dupe conversation belongs mostly to the pricing logic of luxury, to the implicit claim that the $300 formula is so much better than the $25 one, that there is no conceivable world in which they overlap. That claim is not always true. The dupe exposes the claim when it isn't. What the dupe tells you is not about the fragrance, it's about the price. The price of a luxury fragrance is not only about the formula. We've established this. A significant portion of the $350 for Baccarat Rouge 540 is paying for Kurkdijan's reputation, for the Baccarat crystal house's prestige, for the bottle, for the story, for the positioning. The formula is exceptional and worth paying for. It's not worth $350 purely as fragrance. $25 will get you something like 90% of the same olfactory experience. Unless the 10% matters. Unless the specific way Baccarat Rouge 540 dries down on your skin, the particular quality of the sillage in hour 5, the character of the last hours. Unless those things are meaningfully different from the Zara version in a way that justifies $275, for some people they are. For some people, the dupe is enough. Both are legitimate. The fragrance that taught me most about Baccarat Rouge was the Zara version. I smelled the dupe first. I loved it. I bought the original and spent the next week figuring out what exactly the gap was and whether I could feel it in the dark. I could feel it in the dark. Whether it was worth $275 is a question about me, not about chemistry. Very few people in the fragrance world will give you that answer. Most of them have a position on the dupe conversation that's also a position on the price conversation. And the price conversation is one of the industry finds it uncomfortable. I find it interesting. The dupe made it possible to have it.